My name is Damali Ssali and I welcome you to this episode of the Ideation Corner. The Ideation Corner is a space where ideas are discussed and dissected. And today I host Akullu Agatha Rachael, who is the founder and CEO of Read Us Africa. And she's going to tell us all about it. Agatha, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Damali, for hosting me to the Ideation Corner. I must say, for quite some time I've been following this show and also got the chance to read the Ideation Corner book. Little did I know that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
How did you access the Ideation Corner book?
I got it from your website. I read from your Twitter account. You had donated 600 copies to some 3 schools.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I think I need to read this book. Yeah. So my name is Akullu Agatha Rachael. I'm the team leader of Read Us Africa. And I'm also a final year student at Makerere University, currently pursuing Bachelor of Arts in Education, majoring in Literature and English. So Read Us Africa is a youth-instigated organization that aspires to provide accessible, sustainable, and high-quality literacy programs for all age brackets. And we have activities like book donation drives, writing competitions, the Annual African Readers Conference, school outreaches. Yes, so we founded in 2020. And
during COVID?
Yes, during COVID.
You're a COVID baby?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, what drove you? And I'm going to go into a little bit of more details exactly on what Read Us Africa does. But what led you to, because you're the founder.
Yeah.
What led you to say we need a Read Us Africa?
Well, first of all, growing up as a kid, I was a kind of this kid that really didn't like reading. So my aunt
You didn't like reading?
Yes, I didn't like reading. So my aunt would kind of force me to read. She would give me a book and then she would make me like to review the book and then of course like reinforce me.
Yes.
So I'd be like, okay, if I'm going to read this book, I'm going to get a sweet. Why don't I read more and more books again?
Wait, she will give you a sweet after you read the book?
Sweets,
Oh, that's nice.
Biscuits, sodas. That's how I got that spirit of reading.
Yeah.
So when I grew up, I went to schools whereby I got the chance of reading and I was more of a reader. So when I came for my senior 6 work, that was 2020, then I was working with Educate Uganda, and from nowhere, of course, lockdown came. I lost the job, and then I was in my work.
Yes.
And then my mentor, Ruth America, she gave me a book titled The Purpose Driven Life Book, and then I read the book. It has 40 chapters, and I was like, okay, Agatha, am I the only person who really needs this book? Like, it kind of really inspired me. You get it? Yeah, so I got people in my circle, my friends, my mentees, and I told them, let's just read this. It was
this is during lockdown?
Lockdown, yes. So we're just meant to be there for 40 days of the 40 chapters of the book.
Oh, right. It's 1 chapter a day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just meant to be there for 40 days. So we read the book, and then I asked them, I was like, okay, should we continue reading other books on? And they were like, no, let's continue. So we started with 7 people, but at the end of the 40 days, we already 170.
Wow. How were you doing this? You remember you told me you were in lockdown.
Yes.
So how were you doing it?
And of course,
was online? Was it on
It
Zoom?
was online.
Okay.
Yeah, online, on WhatsApp.
Yes.
So we shared the links to many groups, you get. So people kind of joined and we were very many.
Okay.
So it reached a time when we had people from Zimbabwe, people from South Africa, people from Tanzania.
So this wasn't now no longer just about Uganda?
It wasn't just so long about Uganda. And we used to clash a lot in terms of the time zones you get. So if we're reading a book in Uganda, it's like 9 p.m. Maybe in Tanzania, in South Africa, it's another time zone you get. Or maybe in Ghana you get. Could maybe be too late or too early.
Yeah.
So you thought, okay, since you're all passionate about reading, why don't you also have your book club chapters that side, so that you'll be reading, you'll be reviewing it at the time which is convenient.
So there can be Readers Ghana, Readers South Africa.
Yes, something of that kind. So they also we formed at the first chapter South Africa, Ghana came in, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and then now the worst came to worst when I was supposed to now go back to school. Remember now, lockdown was done. I was in my work.
And the vacation is done.
Yeah, the vacation is done. Now I'm supposed to join Makerere year 1. And I was like, okay, I really have friends of mine that maybe I can also get. So we formed the very first university chapter, that was Makerere. Yes. And then we went to Chambogo, we went to BSU, that is Bishop Stewart University in Barra. Then we went to Lira, Gulu. Yeah, that's how the university chapters came.
I didn't know they even have university chapters.
We have,
okay.
Yeah, we have like 20 university chapters actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and then with time, we also now felt the need to now start operating also in secondary schools because, well, from secondary they'll also be joining universities.
Yes.
Yeah.
And reading has to be built, you know, like
Exactly.
you should give your auntie like a massive present. Your auntie literally cultivated that reading culture in your
Yeah.
in you.
So that's how we're birthed.
Yes.
So right now we're in over 30 countries.
Really?
Yes, like 30 countries, and then 20
On
universities.
the continent?
Yes.
Okay.
And then secondary schools, we're in like around 50 secondary schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Across the continent.
Yeah. No.
Uganda. In Uganda?
Yeah.
It's only in so okay, so you're doing most of the pilots in Uganda, yeah?
Yeah.
You just start something in Uganda, you're like chapter.
Yes, exactly. If I start from Uganda, then we expand.
Okay.
If it works, we expand.
Then you expand it. Okay,
yeah.
That's amazing. So how do you manage all these chapters? Because now you're Readers Africa, you're the founder and the CEO. How do you collaborate with these other chapters that are now across in 2 different countries?
Okay. Like I already said before, when we're starting the book club, I can say we were 7. And from the 7 people, I wasn't actually the only person. Let's say we're not all people from Uganda. We had people from Kenya. We also had someone also from Zimbabwe, then Ghana. And then one other person was also from Kenya. So it actually became very easy for us like to tell them, okay, well, since now
you're there.
Yeah, you're already there. You were there at the beginning. Like they were my friends, again, my very close friends. Why don't you just help us coordinate a chapter outside Uganda? Why don't you help us coordinate a chapter? And also that's why it was also very easy to convince them to come for our conference, the very first physical conference that we had in Uganda last year.
When did you have it?
September 6th and 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, we do it every year to commemorate the International Day of Literacy.
That's interesting. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so the African Leaders Conference, well, it's meant to commemorate the International Day of Literacy. Yes. So the ILD, it was launched by UNESCO in 1966. That was during their 14th session. Yes. So, and since 1967, there have been celebrations around the world to remind the public of the importance of literacy, to remind the public of, okay, how best do we really cultivate the reading culture, the literacy skills you get? So we have had issues, we have had instances of Zimbabwe International Book Fair, South African Book Fair, African Writers Conference and all that. So we thought, well, why don't we also do something that is mainly like for the readers to get, whereby we have readers from all walks of life coming together, we discuss how best we can really improve the reading culture, because we know for years and years, a lot has already been done in anyway trying to improve the reading culture, but why is it that we're not really
it
is not improving at all.
People reading?
Like, why aren't people reading? Like, you get, people have invested a lot, they have tried their best, but why is it that we're not really
reading?
Yeah. So that is it. So we had the very first one in 2020, that was on 8th of September. And then it was virtual.
Online?
It was online, and we had people like, I think over 700 people joining virtually.
Wow.
Yes. So we're just trying to, it was more of, how can I call it? We're just trying to say, okay, if it works out, we're going to have a physical. Yeah.
Like, let's try it.
Let's try. Yeah. So we held that first one, but it was more challenging because we didn't really have like people coming on board to sponsor and all that. You go to a partner, to a sponsor, then they tell you, okay, why should we really sponsor this? It's a virtual thing. You get, we are all affected by COVID. You get, you're just 1 year old, so you get. So it was very challenging. But nonetheless, we had it, and then we felt, I think we should now go and have a physical kind of, conference. So we held a first physical conference last year, and we had attendance from over 7 African countries.
People physically flew into Uganda to attend the conference?
Yes, but I can tell it was not easy because still we had the issues of funding, whereby, yes, we had the sponsors coming on board at first. They made promises here and there. We are going to be there for you. We are going to sponsor this and that, but I can tell you they all pulled away 1 week to the conference.
No.
Yes.
We
had, we were interviewed at NTV, that was a Friday before like the conference you get. And then all the partners pulled away. I had no option. If it was not for high people, actually the conference wouldn't have happened.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Because all the partners, the sponsors
who had said, I'm going to do this, I'll cover this course, I'll cover that course.
Yeah.
They pulled, did you have anything in writing by them? Or?
Yes, we did.
But anyway, what are you going to do? I take them to court.
Yeah, so they all pulled away.
Yes.
And then
you're only left with high people.
Yeah, I had to just be honest with the CEO of high people. I told him, we are just stuck. And we have the international guests, they've already booked their flights, they're coming, and the conference has to happen, you get. So they asked us, what can we do for you now? what is lacking and all that. So they came on board and cleared everything.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
But that was like a blessing, I can say.
Yeah.
But then we now felt like after the conference, we're like, okay, the first conference, the theme was, changing real narratives in African communities. And then the second conference, it was maximizing Africa's literacy potential through digitalization. And now, after the conference, we felt like, okay, I think we now really need to reposition ourselves, you know, as an organization, as stakeholders of this literacy agenda. You get. So now we decided this year we're going to make the theme be reshaping the literacy agenda for inclusion, financing, and then digitalization. So why financing? Because now if you look at, I just gave an instance of the partners pulling away. But I've also read instances whereby, I think if I'm still to give an example of the high people you get, realize that I read from somewhere that it was only in their 14th year that they were really in position to raise the funds you get. But then how many organizations are also out there that are really so stuck? You get. People feel like because you're a small organization, because you are young,
they keep asking you, how old are you? How old are you?
Exactly. You get. Because you're a small organization, you're just 2 years old, they cannot really fund, you get. And if you look at financing the literacy agenda, you find that actually much of the funding that really comes to this is actually domestic funded, you get. Which is still which is actually not still enough for them, like, to, of course, like, fund you get. But if you look at the other part, the external funding, okay, if you look at let me put the World Education Forum in 2000, you get, when the stakeholders of education came on board, they said, okay, I think for the literacy agenda to be kind of like implemented, let's all have collective responsibility. We're going to sponsor it, so that if Damali has money, she can maybe sponsor A, B, C, D. If Agatha has, let's say human resources, she can
avail that.
Exactly. Okay. But from 2000, nothing has ever happened.
They talked. They
just talked. So most of the donors, they have not even met up like to the expectations you get. So that's why even again in 2015, they all came back again and again. They again talked. They have not even implemented what they had in 2000. You get. And
it reminds me of the climate change conferences, the climate conferences. We meet, do these huge conferences, spend money on them, and talk.
Exactly. And now that also brings me to this. So why is it that, okay, if now we talk about climate, it's actually more like a hot cake that we really have at the moment. But why don't you have crucial things like literacy being a trend? Why don't you have everyone tweeting about literacy? Why don't you have people coming to fund things that are like literacy you get? Because if you look at literacy, it is actually, if you really want to implement climate, then first of all you have to look at literacy.
No one pays attention to literacy.
Exactly.
It's not one of those things that you know,
But if you really look at it, it's actually a fundamental right that is actually crucial for really exercising other fundamental rights you get. But it is actually one of the most ignored and less funded. So in 2019, when they were launching the National Planning Authority a report on UPE. Actually, the executive director, he really amused me because he was giving a speech. Then he made a very remarkable speech. He said that, you know, in this sector, that is like literacy and education, in this sector, even if you fall from heaven and you do A, B, C, D, you will only improve from 5 to 10%. Don't expect anything beyond that. As long as you don't improve on the financing of the literacy, you can change permanent secretaries, you can do anything that you want on earth, you can fall from heaven, come and speak in tongues, but nothing will ever change. And that is it, you get. And also if you look at the relationship that we have really between literacy and then poverty, it is actually quite a...
There's a correlation.
It's quite a complex one because, okay, high literacy rates is supposed actually to what? To like kind of eradicate poverty. But what do we have? We have again poverty being one of the very high causes of what low literacy.
So it's one reinforces the other.
Exactly. So how best then do we, as Readers Africa, as the stakeholders of you know, this education literacy, really generate, you know, self-funding and then self-sustaining what? Things like, so that if at all the partners pull away, at least we have some money. We can really steal. So yes, the previous conferences have actually been free, but we thought, okay, I think people need to also start paying just something little to kind of what sustain us.
Okay, so so this year's conference, it will be
so this year moving forward, so that at least even if high post pulls away, we still have something to cater for the land, to cater for, you know, the venue, and
Okay, that's interesting. So how much interest, how many people attended the
Yes,
the
it
last
was
one?
118. This
118
yes,
people.
118. The first day was 98. Then the second day was 118. Yeah, but most people actually followed online.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's really a huge turnout, by the way.
It wasn't a huge turnout.
It
wasn't a huge turnout because we really tried our best to.
No, I'm saying it was a huge turnout. It's not easy to get 98 people in a room, by the way.
Yeah.
Up for anything. You got 98 people in
and you know the ironic bit of it, we hosted it in Macquarie University. Actually, it's like a center of intelligence, I can say. They call themselves the Harvard of, Africa. But the turn-up wasn't really so much because if you look at a venue which is supposed to accommodate like 2,000 people, 1,000 people, why do you only have like 100 people, you get?
Did you do a lot of visibility for it?
We did. We tried our best, but trust me, still.
But then it goes back to the root cause of the problem, i.e. the thing you're trying to solve.
Exactly.
How do you get people in a room to talk about literacy? You see? You're trying to solve that issue. So what else does Readers Africa do?
Yes, also we do book donation drives.
What are those?
Yeah, book donation drives, like, if you have communities that really have books, people that have books, like for myself, I've written my book, Hour of Destiny. Why don't I donate 100 copies to the book donation drive so that at least we have someone in BDBD who can't really access books, who can't really afford a book. They also have access to it. You get. You know what really inspired me to come up with this book donation drive? We launched it last year, yes, but I was relying so much on foreign aid. You get. I tried to apply to Books for Africa. I tried to apply for literacy. Sorry, African Library Project, but then there's a lot of bureaucracy. Like sometimes you apply for it, the containers arrive after a year. You get. So one of the conditions actually that I was told that you need to have something like a warehouse whereby if
if it's for next year, you get the books this year.
Exactly. So you get a warehouse, then you get like the 20,000 books, and then you get these books, and then like what put it there. But still,
there is a cost connected to that, keeping the books for a whole year.
Exactly. Not just that, even shipping costs. So they told us that you need to what?
The shipping costs are yours?
Yes, like 2,000 USD. That is like 7 million. So I thought, first of all, the books will delay. Secondly, again, I'll also have to incur a lot.
Yes.
To just ship it, merely just shipping them. Yeah. And second, I also don't know the books which are coming. You get the kind of books which are coming. They just send you. Okay. So I don't really have the idea of the books which are coming. So I felt like, okay, am I going to be waiting on a white man to get books from the US, from the UK to bring books for us? It's actually ironic because they're saying Readers Africa, but I'm waiting for books. You get. I felt actually embarrassed. I was like, no. I'm going to start a local book donation drive whereby we are going to go to these communities and get the books from the local people, put them in our boxes, we take it to the community libraries and so forth. You get. Yeah. Because now, if you really look at this, like 7 million would actually help you to even
by the way, to distribute the books across the country.
Yes. It would actually help other than shipping it, you get.
Shipping them in, and you do the recycling. So what happened? Were you able to get the books last year?
Yes, we got the books. Actually, in the first week of January, we managed to get 600. As I talk right now, we have 632 books at hand.
All donated?
Yes, all donated.
From our same community?
Yes, that was just in the first week of January. But still, we also have organizations that have also pledged to give us the books. Just a matter of calling them, making appointments, and get the books.
No, they don't do you like they don't. So when is that book donation actually happening? Or do you donate them as you're getting them?
No. For now, January, we're just looking at getting the books from the communities. Then from February, we shall start distributing the books. And we are going to be distributing in the 12 sub-regions of Uganda. So we're going to start with Uganda sub-region. Because it's nearer. Yes, as we're also kind of lobbying for funds. We start from the places which are nearer. And then we go to Busoga, we go to Bugisu, Northern and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the books are going to be in the community libraries in those locations?
Yes, community libraries.
Are there community libraries? Like say Nakapiripiti?
Yes, they are. They are there. There are over 110 community libraries actually in Uganda.
That's amazing. I didn't know we had that many libraries.
They are. They're there.
Because which library? Anyway, let me not go into my childhood. But I was trying to remember which public library did we have. But okay, so now how do people, if I'm a person who wants to donate books, for example, how do I get to know about you? How do I know, where to donate them to? Because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who buy books. I'm one of those people. I buy hard copy books. But then sometimes I found myself buying 2 books without my knowledge. I just bought 2 accidentally. So if a person like me or whoever, one, how do I get to know, first of all, that you're collecting books to begin with, and then how do I get them to you?
All right, so how do you know that we're collecting the books? First of all, we made a flyer. That is, we kind of post them every day on our social media handles to tell people that, well, this is a call for book donations. If you really want to distribute the books to us, kindly call these numbers, or maybe get in touch with so and so. And then, yeah, we can arrange for the transport. If, let's say, for instance, you're in Mukona, we can give you a call. You put the books in maybe, say, a carrier or maybe a taxi or something like that kind, or maybe a border. Then you bring it to us.
Okay.
Yes.
So you figure out the logistics. All I need to do, call you and tell you,
just
I
call
have
us.
books, I
You don't
live
even need to
here.
incur any transport cost. Just call us. Have these books here. We get the location. Put it for us on a border. We pick it.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. And then you distribute. How do you choose who to distribute it to? Like,
Yeah. So how do we choose the people that we distribute to? First of all, we have our partners, grassroots partners you get in this. Because now, someone was asking, how then do you really know the 12 sub-regions? Have you even stayed there?
Have you been there?
Have you been there? I've actually never been to Bidi, Western Uganda. But we have partners, like grassroots partners, who have really been working in these communities, who really know the people very well. So we'll be like, okay, since you're one of our partners in this place, one, help us identify the schools, maybe the communities, libraries that are there that we can maybe go to. And then two, you're not going to like be the bridge between those people and then us.
Yes.
And then also you make the days. If at all we're going to come there in February, which particular date? Are we going to come and find when people are already there, or are we going to start mobilizing them afresh? You know, it's very hard. It's actually very funny. For you to move from Kampala in the names of going to distribute a book in Bidi, you don't even know anyone.
So who to distribute the books?
So we have those grassroots partners who help us identify the communities in need, the schools in need, and then also they help us to organize the schools so that when we are going there, we already have where to start from, not starting afresh, like from scratch.
Okay. And then how do you ensure that, say for example, you may put your books in a community library? How do you ensure that they'll stay there, they'll be accessed? You know, because I've had of instances where there is a public library and there are books in there, but the warden or whoever holds that key actually doesn't allow people to access it.
Exactly. So first of all, giving people books is one thing, and also reading is another thing.
I know, they have to read them.
Reading is another thing. You can have books in the library and people don't even access them. The people don't even read them.
Even if the library is open.
Even if it's open, people will actually not read them. So now what we do is like, okay, if now we have identified a school, let's say Olim, a secondary school, there's a patron of a writers club, patron of a readers club. Also need to have some kind of mindset change, activities series with them that, okay, these are the advantages of reading. So let us also talk to the kids. We do some kind of poetry with them, we read together with them, like really make them see the value of reading again. Not just a matter of going to take the books there, you just dump it with them, then also you leave. Take photos, then you leave. No. First of all, read with them. If at all the books can be acted, we also act with them. You get.
Oh, that's interesting to get the kids interested in that.
We kind of like act with them, do some kind of poetry, talk with them. So that at least by the time you leave, they're also kind of inspired to read, not just the books getting rusted from
getting dusted. They do. I did visit. One time I was in Ginger, I visited a public library, but you could see there are certain sections of the library that have never been used. Like you can tell that these two books have been stuck together for a while. You know how they're next to each other, and then you have to pull them apart. So you're like, it means, and it was open, it was accessible, it was pretty well.
Find just dust everywhere, and you see that this one, no one has ever touched it.
And it was open. It was well stocked. It was accessible. Anybody could walk in, but people, I guess, were not walking in or taking the books.
And then maybe for the ghetto, because also we do outreaches with the ghettos, the ghetto areas, some areas like Katwe and all that. So we also have the partners that side. Okay, in those areas rather. What we do is, like we kind of reinforce the kids, the children, so that at least when they hear that Readers Africa is going to come and read with us, you get, they actually be inspired. They're actually yearning for it. So we carry some things like, let's say, sweets, sodas for them, biscuits for them. So
you're using your auntie's template. Like bribe them with a sweet. Now read a book.
So that at least when you're going, you actually, they always be like, okay, when are they coming back? When are they coming back again? Not that when they hear about you, they just like, that one again.
There you go again. But I think also what has helped is that you try to grow it organically in that you get partners or whoever part of the chapter So part of the Uganda chapter, you have people who are in those locations who are part of the Uganda chapter, and then they're part of the community, so they're not separate from the community.
Yes, they're not separate from the communities.
So they're even able to tell you, yeah, that community library, yes, you can put the books in. That one, no.
Yeah, true.
They maybe put it in this particular school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think because of your organic growth, I think it has actually helped. I'm amazed at how much footprint you've had in just 2 years.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then also, another activity that we also have is writing competitions. The writing competitions are mainly for secondary schools, university students. And of course, it's mainly in line with the theme for our conference. Yes, let's say, for instance, if this year we are having Reshaping the Literacy Agenda for Inclusion, Financing.
And you're doing this one again in September?
Yes, in September still. So we send the writing competitions in line with the theme, and then write poetry, essays. Then the winners are awarded during the conference. Yeah, it also kind of inspires, nice. Being recognized in front of the year.
Yeah, recognized for it. It's amazing. So, Agatha, we are running out of time. I'm very inspired with what you're doing, by the way.
Thank you.
Because I'm a reader. I read, I write.
Thank you so much.
I love I love these aspects. But is there any critical thing that we haven't touched, haven't talked about that you'd like to tell the people who are listening to us?
Well, what I can really say as we conclude, having a startup or being, let's say, a founder of a startup is actually not so easy. And especially with what we have, the trends right now, you find someone maybe is into, let's say, climate change, which is more selling.
Yeah, I know, it's sexy,
if you don't have really the why,
yes,
the clear visions of why you're really there and really what you really want to achieve, trust me, you can really be swayed. Now let's say, for instance, we have been in this field and then you feel like, okay, people are not actually funding you. Why don't I just run into climate change? Why don't I just
let me go to climate change. There is a lot of every
Why don't I run into feminism? Because you feel like feminists are actually earning more you get. So I can actually really say it's such a not a bed of roses. I have read inspirational stories of people after 10 years they don't even have any single money, any single funds like to really run anything.
Yes.
But all that matters is that just stick to the why and really make sure that, work hard to really make sure that you're very consistent and persistent so that at least, even if the funders are coming on board, there's actually a time that funders will actually start looking for you because they see that, this people, they're doing some kind of impact.
But then also when they join you, they're following your vision.
Exactly.
You're not doing,
you're not just running here, there, and all that. Yes.
Thank you. There you had it, ladies and gentlemen. Join the book drive. Please go to their social media handles if you have a book to donate. They're doing a wonderful cause. So you just call them and then give them the book drive. And if you're a corporate company that wants to sponsor the conference in September, please, again, just get them on their social media. Thank you.
Thank you.